Miami Heat Summer League has officially ended, and on today's show, we're going to look at who are the winners, who are the losers from the Heat Summer League squad. And if we're going to be completely honest, it was a pretty disappointing Summer League this year. Maybe I was spoiled. I mean, last year we did, in fact, win the entire thing with standout performances from Pelle Larsson, from Kel'el Ware, from Keshad Johnson, from Jaime Jaquez Jr. even a little bit. Last year's team was just so much fun. Josh Christopher as well. This year's team, I didn't feel that same juice, and it was sad to see. But I want to start the conversation with Kel'el Ware. Before we get into our official winners and losers, I'm giving a conflicted grade for the second-year center out of Indiana. Like, he is without a doubt a loser for how he started Summer League. He was absolutely abysmal in the first 3 games he played, spanning across 2 California Classic games in the first Heat game in Vegas. And then Erik Spoelstra called him out, and he had those back-to-back 21-point performances, also averaged 12 rebounds in those games, and shot above 55% from the field. So, loser for how he started, winner for how he finished. Let's just hope when the regular season rolls around, he does not need to be reminded to play hard every single night. And make sure you do follow me over on Twitter. My handle is Nick_Roloff. I talk Heat basketball even more on the Bird app. I'm still calling it that. I don't care how long ago it was changed. Than I do on YouTube, believe it or not. So go give me a follow if you want more up to date around the Miami Heat. We'll start with a winner. I think the number one winner, without a shadow of doubt, in my opinion, was second-year forward/guard Pelle Larsson. The 44th pick in the 24 draft out of Arizona was a player that a lot of us fans were very excited about over the course of his rookie season, playing late. And we were hoping to see him have more of an expanded role in Summer League, and we sure saw that. He was clearly the best player for every moment he was on the floor. And before he left the Summer League squad to go play in Eurobasket for his home country of Sweden, he was terrific. Yeah, he struggled a little bit shooting from beyond the arc, only putting up a 26% mark, but that's something that I'm not concerned about. The Heat Summer League team was horrific in terms of its spacing. I think in the NBA, when he's playing with legit NBA players, he'll have more space to get off his shot, where he will have a much more efficient outing. But he was able to get to the rim and finish. He was able to get to the free throw line. And that's where I just saw more improvement. They put the ball in Larsson's hands way more than I expected. And that was a complaint for a lot of us during the entire Summer League period, right? We wanted to see more on-ball Kasparas Jakucionis. Instead, they had a lot of on-ball Pelle Larsson. And if I'm going to be forced to watch Jakucionis not play on-ball as much as he should, at least I was seeing improvement from Larsson, who did a much better job handling the rock, initiating contact, drawing contact, finishing around the rim at times, but I like the physicality that Larsson played with. He looked like a more confident, improved player, and for the first part of Summer League, he looked like how I would have expected Kel'el Ware to look in terms of an NBA imposing physicality that he was providing. And how about this? In the 5 games he played, he shot 45 free throws, averaged 9 free throw attempts a game. I know they call more fouls in Summer League than normal, but that's still pretty damn good, and he shot above 80% from the charity stripe as well. I have a lot of confidence in Pelle Larsson being a solid rotational player for Miami this upcoming season. What say you? Scale 1 to 10 for me in the comments. Confidence level in Pelle Larsson. Loser, and it hurts me, I am going to give a losing grade to our first-round pick, Kasparas Jakucionis. And it's hard to say this out loud because I was so high on draft night, literally, when he was selected. Obviously, it was not as impactful as a Summer League as we would have hoped. It was disappointing. Now, with that being said, I am not going to be that down on his long-term future with Miami, as I briefly alluded to a second ago. I don't think he was used the way that he should have been used for the entirety of the California Classic and Vegas Summer League. And I do think that he is still going to be a very solid player in the NBA. But some of the issues that he had in college in terms of having more turnovers than made field goals at times reared its ugly head. And all Summer League did for me is prove that it will take longer than anticipated for him to be a very productive and crucial part of this Heat team. there was a delusional and hopeful part of me that hoped he was going to be a day one starting point guard for Miami because of how good he is as a playmaker. But it's clear that he needs to tighten up his handle, his decision making. He needs to improve his conditioning for sure as well. And I think it's going to be very important that he just gets reps. So I could see him playing a lot of time this year in the G League potentially. And they play a lot of Davion Mitchell and maybe Drew Smith, who is likely going to have a two-way contract again this year, early in the season. Maybe that changes, maybe it doesn't. But I'm still bullish on the kid's future. I just think we have to tone down our expectations for this season specifically. Kid's 19. It'll take some time, just like it did with Nikola Jovic. Javonte Cooke is a winner for me, and I was actually pretty impressed with what he provided. This is a older player who I think kind of replaced the Josh Christopher role on this Heat Summer League team from a season ago. Cooke reminded me a lot of Christopher in terms of his ability to light it up from beyond the arc, averaged about 6 3-point attempts per game, shot about 38% from beyond the arc as well, spanning across the California Classic and Vegas Summer League. He's got good size to him. He's 6'6", and I mentioned, right now, Vlad Golden has a two-way, and I would expect Drew Smith to get a two-way, but you get three of them. I could see Javonte Cooke getting a two-way contract. There's another player that we'll discuss here on the back end of the show that could be in consideration for that final two-way contract, but this Summer League team was so disappointing. Like, I don't see many others potentially vying for a two-way contract for Miami, considering there's only like one available right now, assuming Vlad Golden and Drew Smith have the other two. Cooke is certainly one of them. Good size, decent athlete, and he proved he could be a three-point shooter as well. A loser, and this one is like interesting to me, is Steve Settle III, the forward from Temple. And like, the reason why I think it's pretty clear that he's a loser is because I expected a larger role for him in this Heat Summer League squad. Like, you look at the Heat's Summer League team, and outside of the guaranteed contract players, Larsson, Jakucionis, Ware, and Keshad Johnson, there was only a couple guys that had a legit deal with Miami. Vlad Golden on a two-way, and then Steve Settle. They gave him an Exhibit 10 contract right after the draft as a UDFA, and that guarantees him, at least as long as he has the Exhibit 10 contract, a spot at Heat training camp in October. So you would have anticipated him having a relatively large role for this Heat Summer League team. He didn't see the floor until the last couple games. That's not a good sign. That tells me that this Heat Summer League coaching staff doesn't believe he would have been able to contribute anything that productive. And you saw a lot more playing time from an Erik Stevenson, a Dane Donja at times. So it's like you would have thought Settle was going to get more PT considering he had a legit contract and wasn't just a Summer League invite like half the other players on this roster. And that is why he's clearly a loser to me. Having a real deal and not playing. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more daily Miami Heat content, videos all year long on Summer League, free agency, the draft, the season. We'll be doing live watch parties again when the real season rolls around in October, preseason as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and join the family here today. I'm going to say Keshad Johnson is a loser. And I know some people aren't going to like that, but I was severely underwhelmed by his performance throughout the California Classic and Summer League. I mean, this is a player that averaged damn near 20 points per game for the G League Sioux Falls squad this past year. Got his team option of $1.9 million picked up before free agency, which means he got a guaranteed contract by Miami. And for him to have a guaranteed deal going in the Summer League, I just expected more. And he did show some nice things, like he was a connective defender, he's an athlete in transition, and he had a really good game in the one game they won against the Boston Celtics. But he was disappointing in the California Classic. He didn't consistently shoot the ball that well from beyond the arc. I thought Keshad Johnson showed me more last year as a UDFA rookie than this year as someone Miami expects to maybe take a little bit of a larger step up into a rotational spot on the Heat's main roster this upcoming season. So for him to be a little bit underwhelming, it puts him on my loser list. And to me, I think you could have kept him on a two-way. I know you maybe wanted to keep that flexibility open for a potential UDFA, but Keshad, I don't think would have been signed to a standard deal by another NBA team. And if he was given opportunity to be a two-way back in Miami again, or a two-way on a different club, he probably would have chose Miami. So I think you could have kept him on a two-way, which would have given us another $1.9 million in cap space, at least as of right now, and then have another roster spot open to potentially sign a true center, because we don't have a backup center to Kel'el Ware and Adebayo right now. So to me, I think hindsight's 2020, obviously, but I would imagine Miami would think a little bit differently on picking up that team option for Keshad, considering how he struggled a little bit during Summer League. A winner is Erik Stevenson, the player that I briefly mentioned a little bit earlier when referencing the talk about Javonte Cooke. And when you think about who could be up for that last two-way spot for the Heat, maybe it's someone that played for the Summer League squad. Maybe they're eyeing a different player in NBA free agency, or a team player that is on a different Summer League team right now, or was. But Erik Stevenson, across the 5+ games that he played, shot 50% from beyond the arc. He had like 5 or 6 threes in the Heat's first Summer League game. He shot 55+% during the Vegas Summer League. Like, this guy was an absolute sniper. He's an older guy. He's bounced around some NBA teams. If you looked at that headshot we just showed, he had it with a Washington Wizards jersey on. So he's a player that has gotten looks from other NBA players or teams in the past. Should he give up his dream of being an NBA player? I mean, it's going to be pretty far-fetched for him to get a rotational spot. But I would contemplate giving Erik Stevenson that last two-way, considering how good Miami has found some of these undrafted shooters like Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. Maybe Stevenson could be a late find. People forget Duncan Robinson didn't make his first kind of splash in the league until he's 26, 27. So maybe Stevenson could be something very similar to that. Who knows? But you make the call. Should Miami give Erik Stevenson a two-way deal? I guess I will say yes, actually. If you had to choose one player that isn't on a two-way deal or a standard contract for Miami from the Summer League team, it would be between Stevenson and Javonte Cooke, and I would lean Stevenson because he showed me a lot in terms of his ability to be a marksman. So let me know your thoughts on typing Wise. Final player we'll talk about. Going Vlad Golden, the center that obviously is on a two-way contract right now. I like Golden. I was very, very happy about the Heat signing him in undrafted free agency. He was my, I think, second or third top player on my big board that wasn't selected, and I had him in like 46th overall. But he didn't show me as much as I would have hoped, and I get it. Maybe we were expecting to see him get more playing time, and he has great size, obviously. But he just struggles to move his feet on the defensive end of the floor, which was definitely one of my concerns in my scouting. He's just so big, and I was concerned about when he got up against NBA talent, especially with these NBA centers that are just so uberly athletic now. Would he still be able to be as impactful, or would he have my concern with what I had with Zach Edey as well, in terms of the inability to move the feet defensively, getting yourself in out of position, committing just a ton of fouls, and getting targeted in drop coverage in the pick and roll. And I think that has kind of reared its ugly head. He hasn't finished as well around the rim as I would have hoped for as well on the offensive end of the floor. So there's been a little bit of a concern from my end for Golden. Now, is that enough for me to say he shouldn't be a two-way player for the Heat and they should release him? No. I would like to keep Golden on a two-way contract for the short term. But I wouldn't say he surprised me in such a way that I could see him getting meaningful playing time for Miami on the main squad this season, like you see some other two-way players get. But maybe that changes throughout training camp, and we'll see him more in the preseason for sure. And make sure you are subscribed, because with Summer League over, the next time we see Miami Heat basketball is in September during the preseason, and then the October regular season beginning. It creeps up on you. It really does. We're almost done with July here. It's only 1 month of August, and next thing you know, preseason basketball is here. So make sure you subscribe for the top-notch coverage of the Miami Heat.